Let's create a knee brace for our stuffed animal or doll. On the class LibGuide page, scroll down and on the right-hand side, click Student Projects on Thingiverse, and we'll click the octopus entitled Knee Brace for Stuffed Animal or Doll, and scroll down to the Files tab. Click Files. You can see the knee brace. We'll need to print 2 of those. Part 1 of the hinge and part 2 of the hinge, we'll need to print 2 each of those as well. So on the right-hand side, I'll click Download for the knee brace, Download for hinge A, and Download for hinge B. Now in our Downloads folder, we can confirm that we have all 3 of these files. If we didn't make any changes to these files, we could upload them to Prusa Slicer and slice and print, and I'll talk more about that in a later video. But for now, I'm going to assume that we want to make some changes to the brace to decorate it. So we'll open up a new Tinkercad design, and I'll change the name, and click Import, choose File, and choose the knee brace. Upload, import. Okay, there it is. Now, one thing I think I'd like to do is put a Batman logo design on the outer portion where the strap goes in, and I'll also cut out a decorative shape from the front. So we'll start with the Batman logo. First thing I'm going to do is click on Orthographic View, so I'm looking straight down or straight to the side. I'm going to rotate this around so that the front is facing me, and I'm also going to rotate it 90 degrees this way so that I'm looking straight down at the side. And when you rotate models, oftentimes part of the model will end up underneath the work plane, and to get it back up to the work plane, you can just tap the D key on your keyboard and it will drop it onto the work plane. Okay, now I'll click top, so I'm looking straight down. Now to find a Batman logo, I'll go back to Thingiverse and I'll type in Batman logo. Enter, and there's a nice simple silhouette. So I'll choose that. Scroll down to Files, click Files. On the right-hand side, click Download. If I go to my Downloads folder, I can verify that the file is there. Back in Tinkercad, I'll choose Import, choose File, and click to select the Batman file. Now this says the file is 120 millimeters wide. That's quite large, so I'm going to shrink that down to, let's say, 20. And if I hit enter, you'll see that the length and the height is automatically adjusted. And I'll click import. Bottom left, you can see it says that the file was imported, but I don't see it. That's because it's hiding under the brace. That actually looks like it might be about the right size. First thing I'm going to do is click on the knee brace and hover over the height square so I can see that the height is 40 millimeters. So I'm going to click on the Batman logo and start raising it up using the black arrow. Click in the height box and type 40. So I know that this logo is the same height as the top of the brace. I'll click top view and then click and drag the Batman logo over here and then tap the F key on my keyboard to focus in, to zoom in. Actually, that placement looks pretty good as is, but you can use the up and down and side to side keys on your keyboard to position this just the way you like it there. Maybe that's a little better. Now I want to make sure that this model is embedded in the brace. So what I'm going to do is click the height or thickness of the model and change that to 3 millimeters. And then I'm going to click the black arrow and go down 1 millimeter, -1. So I know that that's embedded into the brace. And if you want to make absolutely sure, if you look at it from the side, click on the brace and tap the T key on the keyboard, that will toggle between transparent and solid view. And you can clearly see in transparent view that the Bat logo is firmly embedded into the brace. Before I group these 2 shapes though, I'm going to click on the Bat logo and click Duplicate. Duplicate creates another exact copy right on top of the first one, and it also selects the duplicate copy that you've made automatically. So with that model selected, I'm going to tap the D key on my keyboard, and that will drop that duplicate copy down to the surface, and you can just see the outline of it because the thickness of the Batman logo is 3 millimeters and the thickness of the brace is 3 millimeters, so it's going all the way through. I'll tap F to zoom in. Move this over so I can see, and I'm going to drop that Batman logo 2 millimeters. So in other words, it's going to be sticking out 2 millimeters from the bottom. And again, I can check that by clicking on the brace and tapping the T on the keyboard. Okay, so that all looks good. Now I'll click off all the shapes and then click and drag to select all of them and click Group. All right, that's looking pretty good. So I'll rotate this back 90 degrees, tap D to make sure the brace is flat on the work plane, and I'd like to make a decorative hole in the front. And what I'm going to use is a star. So I'll drag out the star, and for some reason it's rotated a bit. So I'll look at that from the top, tap F, grab a hold of the rotation arrow and rotate it around so that it's straight. I'm using the grid pattern to eyeball the shape to make sure that it's even, and it looks like 18 degrees is the proper rotation. So I'll let go. But that star is too big, so I'm going to click one of these corner boxes and then hold down the Shift key first, and click and drag one of these corner boxes to reduce the shape proportionally. And let's say something like that. Okay, and move it over to where the brace is. Look at it from the side, and I'll rotate it 90 degrees, lift it up, use the arrow keys to push it back. Okay, I'll select both shapes and center them this way. I want to make sure the star cuts all the way through. It's probably not thick enough, so what I'm going to do is click on the star and click this rear black square. So I'm just extending the shape in a single direction. I'm just going to pull it all the way through and verify that everything looks good there. Now, with the star still selected, I can click the Hole button and then select both shapes and Group. All right, so now I can export the shape and verify in my Downloads folder that the new shape is there. Now, when we slice this, we'll need to use supports because of the star, the top part of the star, and also the underside of this Batman logo will need a little bit of support because it's just hanging out in thin air. And we'll look at slicing this model in a future video.